Hey Zach, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Libby. How are you today?
Doing really, really well, really well. Thanks for agreeing to have a chat here about things that you're working on. And where are you located?
I think it'll be a lot of fun. We are technically in Austin, Texas, but the team is everywhere right now.
Hey, remote. I love it.
Oh yeah, just like full stack remote.
Oh, hey. I mean, I am wearing the t-shirt. So, tell me a little bit more about your business and what you do.
Sure. So there's a pretty big problem in the world, and that is companies struggling to get in contact with the people that they want to work with. So right now, the biggest solutions that they have are they can do email marketing, or they can run ads, or they can hire business development reps to call people. And it takes 200 cold calls to get one person willing to talk to you and have a discovery conversation, which is just painful. So even in the US alone, companies are spending over $200 billion a year on business development reps. When you look at what they're spending overall on salespeople, it's over a trillion. And then you add in marketing, everything on top of that. And that's just because, as a business owner, you have different levers. You're like, I need more revenue. Let's pull this one and see if that does anything. And that's usually higher BDRs. And they tend to take about 3 months to train and they last about 6 months at your company. And it's just the math doesn't usually work out. I've met a couple rock star BDRs, but most of them don't really end up producing enough revenue for it to be worth it for the company.
Hmm.
So that's why we started LeadWave. We just make that easier. We have a prospecting engine that puts the human out in front and it reaches out and just gets in contact with the right people. And then when they, are interested in a conversation, the humans jump in and, the prospect has no idea that there was a small transition from an AI engine to a person. And then they get to have a great discovery call and hopefully do business together. So when we take that step, we add that into automating a bunch of stuff in the CRM for the sales team and then providing data so you can make actionable lead polls and more profitable ones. That's basically the whole business in a nutshell.
I like
It'll
that.
be a full product more into next year, where there'll be an AI wizard that guides you through the whole process. Right now, we're a human team using AI. So,
Hmm. Yeah, humans plus AI, I think, is a winning combination right now from what I've seen. But it sounds like so reduce. I didn't know that BDRs, there was a $1 trillion industry in hiring and reducing, spending 3 months to train and 6 months to be while they're actually performing and then leave. That is definitely inefficient. So you've
yeah,
LeadWave
it's a
has
revolving door.
revolving door, right? Right, and nothing actually can happen during that time.
Well, the BDR job just sucks too. Like
Yeah.
anyone that's ever managed a BDR team, they just know how sad it is. Like there's, management always has to achieve unattainable goals. And the BDRs are the resource to obtain those goals. So they set unrealistic sales targets and then people never make their target. They're depressed. They don't get their commission. And then they just leave the company and the company has to start over again. They got to spend thousands on a hire. They got to train the person and then the person leaves. It just keeps happening over and over and over.
Yeah. So LeadWave creates uses AI to do the heavy lifting that the BDRs would typically do,
Yeah,
or
just to do the robotic work. So we
mm,
get the conversation started. And then when there's a conversation started, the humans jump in and they talk to each other.
got it. So you save tons of time for or for the BDRs.
Yeah, for BDRs, salespeople, founding teams, anyone that is in the sales process.
So what did you develop this product yourself? Tell me a little bit more about how you created LeadWave.
We've made a couple products within our prospecting engine. The prospecting engine overall is a lot of different tools that have been tied together. So we can reach different channels like LinkedIn and email and all the other social medias. Um, that part of the engine lets us reach out to people and with the a human avatar And then the second part of it is content driven. So we're creating content and pushing that out across the social medias to nurture the same audience.
Mm.
The idea is if you do an account-based marketing approach like that, and let's say for full stack remote, we wanted to find, every company in the world that needs AI engineers. We would get that list of all the best people to contact there. Maybe it's the hiring managers, maybe it's the senior engineer, whoever it is. And then we just connect with all of them, through every channel and then nurture them with content.
I see. And content, that's the feature you're adding, right? So you have a voice calling feature, you have content or I mean, I love that by the way, from targeting the right person to automating the outreach to nurturing them with content. I mean, an ABM style approach, that's the holy grail, right? You're really what you're really doing is you're able to set these levers, as you said, or lever pullers, and or pull different levers. It's automated for you, and then you're spending more time on the phone actually talking to people. Sorry, I asked you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's right. So, we want to. I don't have a magic wand. I wish I did, but we just put together all the puzzle pieces, and it leads to, a sustainable pipeline of business trickling in, and that leads to referrals and more business, and it's just a thing that builds up. Um, there's
Wasn't
a
that
lot of companies I've had past experience with that are called lead gen companies, and most of the time, it's you just get an overseas cold caller. We want to stay as far away from that as possible and just empower human teams in companies that already are trained and already exist with just more technology.
I love that. So, sorry, I just had a conversation earlier about founder-led sales and talking about VCs. I mean, this is a product that if companies are funded or looking for funding, a founder launches a company, this is seems like the perfect spot for them to be reaching out personally, not having somebody overseas making the calls.
Oh yeah,
VCs love this because it's repeatable, it's scalable, right? Low Lower cost than hiring a team of BDRs.
absolutely. Um, we can come back to that too, but we're usually about, a fraction of the cost of a salesperson,
Mm.
and we can work with an entire sales team to accelerate their productivity. Now, if you're to go hire a BDR, you do need actual humans too on your team at some point because the founders will get too busy and they can't take all the discovery calls. That's a common problem. Um,
It's a good problem.
yeah, so when you hire a BDR, you just have to make sure they're like a bulldog, like a hunter that's self-motivated. And if you have a BDR that you have to motivate, it's probably not going to work out.
That's interesting. Okay, yeah, that is another topic and a very interesting one. Finding hunters. How do you go about finding, it's a little off topic about, but how do you go about finding those hunters?
So I don't want to pick on Max, but if you check out Max Reed on LinkedIn, he's the best hunter BDR I know. And he will just, he just calls people and he just makes things happen. He's the BDR that everybody wants, but nobody has. So most BDRs are like, oh, I clicked my 20 buttons on HubSpot and I made my calls today, none of them connected. And then Max is the opposite. He just finds a way. He's like, hey, I just found this VP guy, became his friend. He's going to work with us now. And that's the BDR that you need to find. Just someone that's a great networker, really personable, not afraid of rejection, and they're just going to go, 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 go.
Yeah, not just follow a to-do list. Click, click, click. Let me make my calls and then I'm
Yeah.
done.
So he actually enjoys hunting. He loves that process, and it's really rare to find someone like that. That's why we're trying to help everyone to be more like that with the technology piece.
Okay, be more like Max. Why didn't you call it Max Wave?
Maybe we will someday. Maybe we'll make a Max edition.
Yeah. Well, now I'm gonna hunt for him. But what so I'm trying to discover more about what people think are possible with AI and things that you can build with AI. What made you choose LeadWave or yeah, what made you choose to use AI in your product?
It's just the ability to cover more ground, really. Um, So with automation, you can do things like just spam people with messages, but it's not a personal thing. So when we bring in the AI, we're able to take what you would send yourself as a greeting to someone and then change it and use it on a greater scale of outreach so we can reach more and more people. It
That makes
feels
sense.
just more personal. So
And
that's
time
the gist of
saving.
it.
So not just automation, but more and time saving, but much more personal, much more effective. Sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of challenges have you guys had in building out this product and what frustrations have you come across in particular?
The biggest challenge was we tried automating too many things too fast.
Mm.
I think a lot of startups have that problem. So we made some processes more manual and just ran with them before we automated them. And the other one is just that every company we stand up a sales team for is so different. Even if they have a very similar product and they sell to a similar market, the
Mm.
people, the brand, all that stuff is so different. So it's a wild card every time to how that audience is going to respond to it. That's been one of the biggest challenges.
And what do you do
It's like
to
an
address that? That sounds like a very difficult, maybe fun, but a
It
difficult
sounds
challenge.
simple, but one of the most common things to fix it is just to have like a team that smiles more. It helps so much. You can have so I've run two founders that have the same headshot. Like they got their headshot taken at the same time, basically same kind of outfit. Their LinkedIn profiles look the same, and then they've got both a big following. One of them produces like two discovery calls every day. The other one's like one every 2 weeks. One of them smiling in their picture, and the other one is not.
Really? So an A/B test on
So
smile.
that's been a learning point. It's just looking like a person people really want to talk to. There's that psychological component to it as well. It's not just the technology, it's the technique and how people use it and deliver it.
Wow, that's a surprising tip I didn't expect to hear. And now I'm gonna go smile in my profile picture and then reach out to
Awesome.
Max. But uh, wow, that's a really great tip. Any other insights you could offer up or you'd be willing to share? Another
Sure.
learning,
Um,
not secret sauce, but something simple that people could do in their outreach.
a lot of people need to invest more in their personal brand, especially because it reflects all back on the company, and they need to make it more simple. People put a lot of effort into their branding and it becomes so complicated that people don't understand it in the 7 seconds that they actually look at it.
Mm.
So, on the homepage of their website, just really make it super clear who you can help and what you can help them with, and then maybe show some other people that you helped. And then when you take that over to, personal marketing accounts like personal LinkedIn's, same kind of thing applies. So just you got to feature, great work that you've done. You've got to get testimonials. You've got to get reviews from people. You've got to have, a great profile picture and a great headline. And then you can't make your title like 40 words that are really weird and a bunch of acronyms. It's just got to like be a sentence that explains what you do and sound fluid.
So in your title, do you actually give your job title or just a sentence like I help people do XYZ? What do you
Usually
like?
both is good. So it doesn't matter what order you put it in, but if you start out with like, founder at this company, I help X companies do B, something like that. That always works really well because it's super clear.
I love that. So what are the next steps for LeadWave?
I got to add one more thing to that first too. Just if people could just look at all their stuff and pretend they've never seen it before, that would help the most. I'm usually just a fresh set of eyes, but every startup gets um, so busy and built up on their own brand and their own thing and their own industry that they're not looking at it from an outside lens. So they lose focus on how to present it to the world.
That's a great tip.
That happens a lot.
A mentor of
Just
mine.
show it to strangers and say, what do you think we do? If they can't figure it out, it's probably not communicated very well.
That's great. The grandma test.
Maybe not grandma, because she will probably never figure out what a startup does. But
That's a mentor of mine said like the knowledge curse or something to that effect. Like you know too much about your business, therefore you're not explaining it in the simplest terms. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so where are you head? What are the next steps with LeadWave and where do you see AI heading in the future? So two questions there, but kind of related.
sure. So I really just see AI in making things faster for humans. It's just going to help us get rid of boring logistical things and paperwork and things that take a lot of time. So some cool applications I've seen it used for this year are people are using it so, you know, insurance can underwrite faster. We're using it so sales and outreach can happen faster. And then where I really want LeadWave to be a year from now is we'll transition from a service fulfilled by all of our different software products into a SaaS company. So anyone will be able to, come to our site and talk to an AI wizard that will be there. It'll learn about them and their business and then recommend the best ways to use our prospecting engine, set it up for them, launch their marketing campaigns, and then provide them with a CRM where they can push out content across all the social medias that'll be partially AI created. And we'll also have a human fulfillment team too to guide them through that whole process. But that's really where we want to go. We see things as like Salesforce and HubSpot as dinosaurs. That CRM traditional model creates work for people to do. So we want to just create a CRM that does the work for you. So you're not just in there doing things that this calendar has given you as reminders, but actually just execute for you and leave all the human conversations to the humans, but do all the things where business can fall through the cracks for you. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, I mean, you had me thinking I don't like Salesforce and HubSpot anymore. I've been trying to between the legacy systems and software and constant upgrades and inability to cancel. It's just been and trying to talk to different humans in different departments. I can really see where AI can make a huge difference there. But I love that there's disruption that can happen, and you just kind of pointed to that, like with what you're doing, having a combination of AI and humans being able to actually understand what your business is and then guide you through that process. That's to me, that's a game changer. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's just built on a lot of patterns that we recognize. So any company that's selling B2B, they've usually got a lot of patterns in their sales process they don't recognize. They usually don't know where all their leads come from or the lifetime value of their customers for those leads. So we want to get that data first and then enhance the source of wherever they're coming from. And then if they're not using, any automation tools currently, then we'll roll that stuff out too. But that's all stuff that an AI wizard can identify and do. It's just the stuff that we do personally, but that makes it a lot more accessible if like to the whole world because there's only a few of us.
yeah. I love that also you're taking a human-centered approach. I know a lot of people are building AI products, but maybe don't, if you build something you don't understand the problem intimately, you risk building the wrong thing. So the fact that you're starting as a service business, working with customers, listening to customers, and then building the agent to pair with that to be successful sounds again like a winning formula to me.
I hope so. That's the plan anyway. So
And didn't you do some well, I wanted to make a comment about content too. I think it's also great that you are able to then pair their target audience with the content that you're pushing out because content you heard content's king, but I'm hearing more and more that content is the new attention. And so I think that's a really important aspect of and a way to leverage that in tandem with really revenue generation is your ultimate uh, brand, right? Getting
Yeah,
customers.
absolutely. I mean, the number one thing, in my opinion, in sales is to just be in front of your audience. Just get in front of them, talk to them.
Mm.
We just want to help people do that. If
And I
you're
don't,
there and you're in touch with them and you've nurtured them and they've seen your stuff and you reach out to them at, every other month and they're always seeing your videos and stuff like that, when the time's right there, you're gonna be the person to go with. You don't want to
definitely.
be unknown.
And you also had mentioned that you worked with an accelerator and that you're able to help people with startups with fundraising efforts and through this revenue generation or machine, right? That you're creating or
Yeah, it's very similar to what we do with prospecting for sales. It's just prospecting for investment and it's the whole same system. So it's just on the prospecting engine. We just changed the how everything looks and then the language.
amazing. And are you guys a Microsoft partner as well?
We are half of a Microsoft partner so far. We're in that process.
Okay. Um, I can cut that part out too. Uh,
That's okay. They're a great community. It's just a whole lot of a whole lot of meetings and stuff like that. But it is great to meet everybody there.
sure. And where are you located? Oh, you already told me that in the beginning, so let's skip that part.
Okay.
Do you see, I just want to ask you, any security, do you see any security concerns for AI? I know people have some, we've seen some hacking lately. We have concerns around security. What do you think about security and cybersecurity around AI?
Um, I'm not the best person to speak on that, but I could see it producing, additional risks that people in traditional businesses already have with their cybersecurity just because of its access to their information. But most of the time, the easiest weaknesses into a business are going to be the crappy security protocols they have already. I feel like most of the AI products will be more secure than what they already have. I mean, most cyber attacks are still happening because of human errors and human flaws and people clicking links. Even tech CEOs fall for it. They'll click the wrong link because a scammer got it to them at the right time. So they
Mm,
just do that. They expose human vulnerabilities. Um, I work with a company called Blue Zone that actually will build a cybersecurity strategy around your business, and then they'll provide insurance in case you're ever, in a spot where something happened and your business has been financially harmed from a cybercrime. That's probably the best thing that any business could do
mm.
to prepare for something like that.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. I'm not the best expert on it either, why I'm asking you. So where do you see the future of AI? Where do you see AI in 1 year and 5 years?
In 1 year, I think we're going to see a lot more content creation being accessible to anybody, even the non-creatives or somewhat creative people will be able to just produce awesome content because they're just going to have to type into an engine. So that'll be pretty cool. The world's going to get a lot more creative, and there's going to be whole new spots in the market that open up because of that.
Mhm. And in terms of, because you're a startup person, if somebody wanted to start an AI startup, where would you recommend that they begin, or what are some steps they could take?
Oh, that's a fun question. Um, I'd say the first thing would be find a problem that sells you and sells other people and start with that. So if you can find a problem like, um, let's say, a business struggles with answering their phone or with their customer service or whatever that problem is, maybe you can create an AI agent for that industry and then own that niche and be the brand for that specific space. That's what I would do anyway.
Very cool, Zach. Well, I love talking to you. I've had great conversations with you. I love what you're building. It solves a big problem, and you've always been forward thinking. And you're my first person that I'm interviewing here on this new YouTube podcast channel. So, thank you so much for being willing to come on and chat with me. I appreciate it. And where can people hear
It's been a
about
blast.
your? How can people find out about you and your business?
So right now, the best place to find LeadWave is our website, which is LeadWave.ai. You can also find us on LinkedIn. We're on there all the time. And we're coming out to every other social media over the next few weeks as well.
Sounds great. And I will drop something below and in the comments so people know where to connect with your company.
Can I share a couple more things real quick?
Please share.
Okay. Um, this might not share the whole screen, but can you see it?
Yes,
Okay, awesome. So
I see
if
your phone.
every business could do this, they would all produce a lot more revenue. I mean, I'll start with this backwards, but just dashboard all your information. Find out what your revenue is, where it's coming from, who closes the deals, where the leads come from, and then you can break down the cost of all those different lead sources and weigh it against the lifetime value and the revenue that comes from each of those sources. And then you can double down on the top three, focus on that, and you'll really start to grow the revenue of your business. That information is just so valuable because then you can make those decisions. And then the other steps in that process are just making sure things don't fall through the cracks. So you have a conversation with someone, it goes really well, but maybe it's not the right time. You got to make sure that they're in your CRM, and you either set a reminder for yourself to rekindle that person in a month or two, or just have something automated set up to send out a follow up to them like, hey, it's been a while. Let's catch up. How are things now? And then eventually that person, it might be on the fifth interaction, but they'll go, oh, we're actually reevaluating our widget that we have for this thing that you guys make. It would be a great time. And then they'll explore the process. So that's just how you don't let things fall through the cracks. Um,
I'm
and
terrible at
then
follow-up. That's
I
fantastic.
think everybody is. Nobody's really good at it. You have to automate it because if you talk to 10 new people every week, by the next week or 2 weeks later, you're not even going to remember what to say to them. You just have to automate that part. You can do it in HubSpot. You can do it in all the CRMs.
But we're
Even if you do
disrupting
something
HubSpot.
basic. Yeah, I know. I'm just for anyone right now, you can just make sure you have that step after your discovery call or after your call. Have different buckets you can place that prospect in, like come back to them later or whatever it is, and then you can come back to them and hopefully close something when the time's right. So, there's all kinds of different reasons why things don't move forward. Maybe it's they have a better solution. Maybe it's not the time. Maybe it's the cost. Maybe they're going through an acquisition, all kinds of stuff. So, just have a different, easy playbook for each of those things where you can leverage them in the future and keep them safe in the meantime. And then this is just, work backwards to where your leads came from and then double down on that using the data that you found. If you don't have your data, get it right away. You got to have that. You got to make decisions with data.
Mm. Can you talk more about this again? As you were pulling it up, you were talking
Sure.
about finding using all the different marketing channels, what your LTV to CAC is. Can you explain that? Just dive into that a little bit more. And
Oh
then,
yeah, absolutely. So this is a basic diagram, but what you want to have, whether it's on your CRM or Excel or however you have it, is you want to have a dashboard or at least just the numbers in Excel so you can see, okay, we made this much revenue this month and it came from these 5 deals that closed. 3 of these deals came from this source. And then you just start breaking it down like that. So you can figure out, okay, I spent this much on that source. Now you've got your cost for each of those individual deals. And then you can look at, maybe it's a annual SaaS product they bought, so it has a lifetime value that you can maybe assume is a year or however you want to do your assumptions. Then you can start looking at, okay, we spent, you know, $300 in customer acquisition cost. and we got a customer that's going to bring us $20,000 over their lifetime. That's how you build a machine. And then if you can scale up that source of that lead production, then you're putting in a coin and you're getting back a bunch more coins, and you build a really solid machine like that. But a lot of businesses don't have that information. I don't think most of them do, even the big ones. They just, business just comes in, and some days business doesn't come in and then everything falls apart.
Mm,
See that happen all the time.
yeah, I guilty of that at times.
I think
Um,
everyone is. We're
but you're
trying to
right.
fix that problem.
LeadWave is fixing that problem.
Working on it.
That's fantastic.
We have to get a lot
Honestly.
bigger.
But really, it is if you put in $1 and get 100 back, or even $1 and get two back, then and it's
That's an
consistent,
awesome CAC
repeatable,
to LTV ratio, especially if you're fundraising too. You can show that you have a 1 to 10 or a 1 to 20. You know, I put in, that's all investors really care about is if they put money into your company, does more come out? If you can build a sales machine, that's what everyone is looking for.
right? Well, I'm really excited to see this LeadWave sales machine in action, and you've been very helpful with sharing all of your knowledge and information. It's very, very valuable. But I to be able to automate follow-ups in a human way, manage the cover more ground and automate the process and things that we would take lots of time and labor and cut that down, and then also measure excuse me, which channel is most effective to get your right LTV to CAC ratio and scale up in a repeatable way. I mean, this is fantastic, Zach. So I'm definitely going to be making sure to check out LeadWave and looking forward to a long relationship with you guys. This is and following your journey. This is
We're
fantastic.
looking forward to it too. We can grow together.
Yes.
And if you have any friends or if there's any businesses out there that want a free assessment, happy to do that. We
Okay. What
can
does that
help
look
them
like?
find it. Well, we can just help them find out the basics, like the cost of their customer acquisition, cost of their leads, and then the revenue estimated that they produce over their lifetime. With that information, it really provides a lot of options because then we can show them if there's a way that they can do things faster or cheaper. It's a pretty awesome result.
Oh, great.
But without that information, it's just so hard to pull levers.
Got it. I That's awesome. I'll definitely send everybody your way for free assessments. I really believe in what you're doing, and I do think it's a game changer. So I'm very excited for your journey, Zach. Thank you so much for your
So I'm
time.
excited to be on it with you.